actually respect them for their attitude. Like they seem always really positive, and even when they lose, they're really kind and they say, yeah, it was GG, well played, we have to prove this and this. So I really respect that because that in such position at the bottom of the table, it's really hard to keep this attitude. So yeah, I have a lot of respect for the team.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the European LCS live from Cologne, Germany. I am, of course, Lee D-Man Smith, and alongside me is Trevor Quickshot Henry once again for the next two games. First up, it is a clash between the Copenhagen Wolves and Millennium. As you just saw there, Kevin discussing this one. These teams are currently tied at 1 apiece, with the last match being way back in Week 3, so much has changed since then. Yesterday, of course, the Wolves, well, they played very well against Gambit, controlling the game by dominating the bottom lane early on, giving them a huge advantage when fighting for the Dragon.
Yeah, in general, it just looked like the Wolves had better control of their team composition. They also dictated the pace of the game the entire time. Gambit never had an answer for any of the plays that the Wolves put forward. You can see in their objective control. One of the big stories for the Wolves, though, is the fact that Coutard has expressed an interest to step back from playing. During yesterday's game, he went 3-0-3 on Rise, and in general, I feel he's been playing very well for the Wolves. This late into the split, it's actually going to be difficult for the Copenhagen Wolves to adjust to a new mid laner, especially because it may only be next week that it happens. If Copenhagen Wolves are going to climb up the table, making it to 6th is going to be a difficult task with a new player.
And you could contrast that with last year, when, of course, Extinct did the exact same thing for Ninjas in Pyjamas. Boop, downhill it went from there.
Yep.
So we'll see. It's a risky, risky move for them, that's for sure. Well, yesterday, of course, Millennium, on the other hand, pulled out Ezreal and Blitzcrank for the first time this split and produced an amazing result, taking down Alliance. The thing is, it wasn't just a fluke. It's the result. They legitimately played well throughout the entire game, despite gambling, of course, with the Baron trade for that inhibitor.
Yeah, it's something you see teams at this level do fairly often, pick one objective or the other, and Millennium played around it very well. The best way to highlight was just their fantastic team fights. They had a clear understanding of when to engage and when to stay in those team fights. They avoided all of the displacement that Alliance was trying to put down, and Kerp and Creaton just put up phenomenal performances, playing Fizz and Ezreal respectively. I think Millennium as a team, they continue to demonstrate a very strong mid-table presence. They did take down Alliance yesterday, but I still feel they're a bit of a one-trick pony. They only seem to perform on those very aggressive champions, and if Alliance had a better way of dealing with their picks and the rocket grabs and the Fizz, it actually would have been difficult for Millennium to close that game out. So I still need to see more diversity from Millennium before I'm truly impressed.
We'll see how it goes in this match. Let's check out the lineups for today. Our two teams, of course, are Copenhagen Wolves on the blue side. That means in the top lane, it's going to be Youngbuck, Airwax in the jungle, Coutard in the mid lane for now, Woolite as the AD carry, and Unlimited on support.
And on the red side, it is, of course, Millennium, with Kevin playing the top lane, Cottonex in the jungle, Kerp with his trackball in the mid lane, Creaton on AD carry, and J-Ree hopefully pulling out the grabs and support.
So you guys have been telling us who you think will win this game over at LOAsports.com, and it's a 73% vote for Millennium this time around. No surprises, they are on the up and up.
Yeah, I completely agree. And, you know, they're taking games off big names fairly regularly. They're also an exciting team to watch. When Millennium are playing well, they play really well.
Yeah.
You go back to that Week 3 game between Copenhagen Wolves and Millennium. It was Kerp and Creaton who also destroyed. I took a look at some of the stats. Kerp was playing Ziggs at the time. He went 11, 1, and 11. And Creaton was playing Lucian, 8, 0, and 6. He went unkilled in that game. If we go further back to the Week 1 victory, it was actually when Youngbuck went back to a tank. He pulled out Trundle for the first time. When he was experimenting with those AP champions, experiments didn't work out very well. But it's good to see him. When we spoke to him yesterday, he said Renekton is back. He's playing a lot of Renekton. We'll see if he can get his hands on it in picks and bans.
Let's hope he finds another champion with a skin he enjoys rather than Vladimir. Here we go. Pick and bans underway. Twisted Fate and Ziggs being banned away. And Kassadin and Yasuo. So everybody on the mid. Fizz taken away as well. 5 mid laners.
Orianna.
The final one, can we get the complete set? There's the Rise, in which Coutard played yesterday.
Orianna's still up. Lulu is still up. Syndra is still up. Those are potentials for either the mid lane or even the top lane if you want to throw the Lulu in that regard. But the primary go-to mid laners have all been taken off the table. And with all 3 junglers up, I almost feel like locking in a comfort pick for Airwax is an interesting choice because there's so few mid laners that Countout could go to. I mean, hell, if Wolves wanted to, they could always put Zyra there as well.
The thing is, you could also argue that Cotnex, of course, has played Lee Sin fantastically well when he gets his hands on it. But, as you said, it leaves a lot open. It's a Gragas so far. Could be the top lane. We have seen Kevin working on this one. Lucian, of course, will be for Creaton. We'll see whether Kurt maybe goes with that Gragas, because we did see Overpower just a moment ago playing it in that mid lane.
Hell, J-Ree could play it because we've seen it in a support role as well.
Of course, yeah.
You know, there's the versatility.
Could even be Cotnex in the jungle.
You know, it really could. The Grungle...
We saw Helios doing that, of course, last week in North America.
The Grungle is a thing, albeit less popular than other places for Gragas, but a slow pick and ban phase for the Wolves. Millennium, quite quick out of the gate to lock in that Gragas and the Lucian, and Creaton's going to be very safe and very comfortable with his AD carry. We know just how many times he's played that over the course of the split. This will be his 12th game on Lucian in the summer split alone.
We do see, of course, Braum and Renekton picked in. Unlimited on Braum, he has been a fierce roaming buddy alongside Airwax on Lee Sin. This could be an interesting combo. We could see Copenhagen Wolves going full on aggressive again. Of course, it will rely heavily on what Woolite and Countout select.
Yeah, and it's also going to be dependent on their vision. Because when Copenhagen Wolves dismantled Alliance last week, it was thanks to having superior vision and punishing their opponents for not reacting. And if memory serves, they tried it against Fnatic as well. SK rather, and SK just roamed. Enrated moved around and actually supported properly and correctly. So it is a gamble. It's one of those things that can be countered. So Copenhagen Wolves need to be very careful with how they play this game out. Considering 4.11, we haven't seen lane swaps, I would be hesitant to say they're going to go for that strategy again.
Well, we see J-Ree going on to Morgana this time, not going to be lunging for that Blitzcrank. He's going to have, of course, Lucian alongside him with Creaton. And it was Evelyn for the jungle this time for Cotnex. That leaves a variety of options open for Woolite and Countout, the final choice for the Wolves.
Yeah, now the Evelyn Gragas combo is what Fnatic used yesterday and did such a great job of securing kills against the Super Haku, really punishing Super Haku in the laning phase. I'd like to see if they can get that again, because I feel like Renekton may be able to deal with Gragas, assuming you can get in his face. Assuming Renekton can stick to Gragas in that laning phase, it might work out for him. However, for Millennium, they're leaving their mid lane pick. I feel like an Orianna could be a decent comp, but it might not synergize with the Gragas. Alternatively, they could lock in Shyvana or something for the top lane and put that Gragas mid.
It's Lulu and Corki. Corki for Woolite. Woolite's been playing fantastically well over the last couple of weeks. At the moment, though, the Matrix is glitching, and they are finally going to see the last selection. It's going to be Aatrox for the top lane. That means it is Gragas mid again. Mr.
Anderson, I believe Mr. Smith has your details. And so as you said, Gragas for the mid lane again. So this is an interesting turn of events because Gragas mid, we've seen it work. It is a late game scaling champion in terms of damage, once you get some of that ability power built up. And as Deficio said yesterday, when you've got that Frozen Fist, the Iceborne Gauntlet, you're sort of a mini Kassadin in terms of chasing. You can just keep sticking to people and locking them down, slow them with your Q, briefly knock them up with your Body Slam on your E, and use the Frozen Fist to keep them in place. Both teams have got very strong engage, but there's more flanking power for Millennium. And if Kerp gets good ultimates, he can disrupt that sort of forward-facing, running into team comp that the Wolves have put together.
Well, we'll see how this one works out. Of course, both of these teams took victories yesterday. Big victories as well. Wolves, of course, taking down Gambit, which is an important clash for them because it was the bottom of the table. Millennium, of course, took down Alliance. You guys at home, though, this is time for you to decide because the picks and bans are now in. And who do you think has the advantage? Tweet at LOL Esports with the hashtag CWWin or hashtag MILWin. And we'll be checking out those results shortly as this game gets underway.
It's very difficult to say who got the better team comps because they do slightly different things. I do, however, feel with the Lee Sin, with the Braum, with the Renekton, if the Copenhagen Wolves can get some good ganks early and move around the jungle, and from that regard, that can be a great way to get stepping stone into mid-game control. What the Wolves have to avoid is committing to big team fights where an early Gragas barrel can allow the Wolves to just get focused and zoned down one by one.
Oh, we'll see how this one works out, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to go live for Game 3. It is the Copenhagen Wolves who will be starting out as the blue side, facing off against Millennium, who are, of course, on the red side. Millennium themselves, they are 10-9 in the league, and the Copenhagen Wolves need victories over the likes of Millennium to try and get themselves back into one of those playoff spots. It's a long, hard slug for them because the Wolves and, of course, Gambit, who are now bottom, by the way, Gambit, after that game, are in trouble because the likes of Roccat, Millennium, Super Hot Crew, all of those teams above them keep winning.
Well, these are the teams that the Wolves need to take out because of the win-loss differences. With the Copenhagen Wolves sitting at 5 and 15, and you look at Millennium, who are 10 and 9. If the Wolves can pick up victories against Millennium and Roccat and Super Hot Crew, it makes that climb and that gap all the more manageable. But the problem is there's very little room for error with so few weeks left on the split.
This is what you call in English Premier League a six-pointer, when it's a team that you're basically fighting in relegation against. Not to say Millennium are anywhere near relegation right now, because they are very much out of it.
For the time being, but of course...
Well, with Roccat keep on winning, which they are on a 5-game win streak.
A few more losses.
Definitely drag them into it, yeah.
A few more losses, they could be facing it. So we do see some early wards from both of the teams, and it's the Wolves with Actually, this is just a mirror image as far as vision is concerned. Neither team looking to set up any sort of lane swap, and no indications of a jungle invade because of how split up all of these teams are. But Millennium, much more defensive. They've got a nice, tight group of units around their red buff, and they want to make sure Cotnex gets his first jungle buff as quickly and as safely as possible.
So we'll see how this one develops. Cowtard being forced away from his champions. I think Cowtard may be affected by those 6 ability power mid lane bans. There was, of course, Yasuo in there, so not all ability power, but more 6 mid lane bans than potentially Kerp. He has a rather larger champion pool. J-Ree starting out with Tormented Soul, poking down on Warlight Gang, of course. His Spell Thief's ticking early on for the gold. Meanwhile, Unlimited did go with that Relic Shield, so he's going to be looking to try and get some of that CS in a moment. At the moment, though, he's putting pressure on towards Creaton Jerry.
Yeah, and this is one of these lane matchups that we talk about fairly frequently in terms of the Corki versus Lucian, because Corki's low-level burst is equal, dare I say maybe a little more than Lucian, assuming you can keep it range. If you can get those Phosphorus Bomb strikes down and avoid taking those double tap passives of Lucian, you can see how much more hit points Woolite has. And Unlimited is completely playing aggressive in this lane, really trying to keep Creaton and J-Ree on the back foot. So a strong early laning phase, but we need to see if it results in levels and CS, because Creaton is only 4 or 5 CS down at the moment, doing a fairly good job of keeping himself in it.
So the two junglers, you could see there, Cotnex had completed blue, so he's slightly ahead at the moment in his pathing around that jungle. Neither look to be getting involved in any of the lanes right now, so it's going to be a straight up slugfest in all on the lane, see who can come out on top. At the moment, top lane, you can see Youngbuck, as you'd expect on Renekton, is coming out on top in the early stages against Kevin's Aatrox.
Yeah, and it's one of these matchups that Renekton should be punishing early on, and then eventually Kevin can start contesting. Ooh, Cotnex takes a lot of damage.
Good trade from Awax there. Does get vision of him, of course. Has the flash out of Kerp, though? That was a respectful flash.
It was, because if that knock-up had come into play, Kerp may have been able to get the ignite damage, and the barrel slow would have been enough. But look at Creaton and J-Ree. They are being absolutely bullied by Woolite and Unlimited.
He's got no mana to try and dash out the next one. If they manage to catch on him once again, he did just level up, so they may have given him just enough in the bank. You can see they're going back for him again. They want to force him away from this one. Good black shield there from J-Ree. Stops the damage from Warlight coming through.
Yeah, but the summoner heal was blown, and now they've caught Kerp.
Kerp in trouble, he gets caught out, does get the belly slam on Airwax, the tower hit's going to go through, but he should survive. Gets the shield just in time, the ignite is ticking, and he will live, and that is a first blood for Cowtard.
So securely played by the Copenhagen Wolves, very, very close. Airwax needed the shield from Cowtard to stay alive, but it worked. They're trying to punish Youngbuck now.
Youngbuck should slice and dice away from this one. Cotnex got nothing to slow Youngbuck down, and he's just going to walk on back to town and get himself healed up.
Yeah, Youngbuck was well-renowned as being one of, if not the best Renekton player about a year ago this time. I would say beginning of last year, the early Season 3 days and end of Season 2. And it's good to see Renekton actually coming back into play. Sort of fell out of favor over the last few months. First back, early teleport, and that CS advantage he had built up has been reduced thanks to the gank attempt by Cotnex. But we need to see where Cotnex continues to apply pressure, because that was his first gank, and Youngbuck easily thwarted it. Easily just slashed the dice.
J-Ree's going to get stunned up here. Oh, good black shield just at the right time there to prevent the stun coming through, using it on himself. Quickly catches a Dark Binding and Tormented Soil on Unlimited, putting some damage trade back to them. There's a big minion wave here. Copenhagen Wolves are going to be forced back to tower.
Yeah, but not only is there a big minion wave for Walleye to farm up, he's already got a 15 CS lead. So Creatine and J-Re are struggling in that lane. They want to try and punish Kautar.
They're going to go on towards him. He got stunned and slowed, but he can see the speed that Kautar can just apply to himself on that Lulu. Makes him such a safe mid-champion. Ewax, meanwhile, he's looking to come around the backside of Kevin. Kevin, of course, he's already teleported away, so he can't get away from that one. He has got flash available. Ewax going to come around the side here. Hasn't got his kick available just yet. He does manage to have enough. Bloodwell goes down. Blood passive getting on towards him. Is enough on the tower? They're going to have to dive it. Oh, wow! A comedy of errors there. And now Ewax is in trouble. Konix is going back. Ewax will get the kill. Safeguards away. Konix flashing for it. Gets the kill returned. And now Youngbuck, well, he's going to back away. I don't think Konix can go toe-for-toe with Youngbuck though on Renekton.
I don't think so either. They end up trading 1-for-1 with each jungler securing a kill in that trade, but you did see Youngbuck ending up landing the stun on the minion. He didn't have the boots to catch up with Kevin, and unfortunately, once the distance was gained from Dark Flight, Kevin kept himself alive for a few seconds longer. Nevertheless, 1-for-1 and assists for both of those top laners. Youngbuck continues to hold on to the CS advantage, so it's the Wolves with an early lead in the first 6 minutes of the game.
Yeah, more importantly for the Wolves, of course, while Youngbuck didn't get the kill, it does mean a big minion wave was lost for Kevin. You can see in terms of CS trade, it is starting to slip away from him. Interesting to see how they build. Youngbuck will be going Blade of the Ruined King. We've seen this so often. Looks like Kevin's going to be doing the same. Yeah,
Youngbuck actually got into a bit of a Twitter argument with Skarazard yesterday, discussing Blade of the Ruined King. And Skarazard was particularly disappointed because he feels that Tiamat is the better option. What Youngbuck was saying about the Blade of the Ruined King build is against tanky or high health targets like an Aatrox, like Evelynn when she throws her ultimate down, and even Gragas once he builds tank. You have a lot of damage, and if you've got an empowered W, that's 3 strikes of 8% current hit points. The only risk for Youngbuck is timing on his engages. He cannot afford to jump into a team fight too early because he's simply not able to sustain or survive long enough. But that is, of course, where Lulu comes in. A wild growth can counterbalance that.
Some great deep wards there from Unlimited this time. You can see put them in towards the Wolves and over at the big white to the right-hand side to keep vision of Cotnex early on. Good coverage here. Creaton being forced back. Unlimited just blocking out with his Unbreakable on the damage coming through. In this bottom lane, they've all been back to buy. You can see a Phage versus a Vampiric Scepter being picked up. Double Dorans was picked up by Creaton a while back as well, so he's slightly ahead in builds, but of course Walleye, you can see big farm advantage right now building towards that Trinity Force.
Yeah, and a lot of that stems from Unlimited. He's landed so many of those Winter's Bite Qs that it's making J-Re and Creatin's life difficult. We'll get to that in a second as Cotnex is trying to jump on Kautar, so this will turn into a 3v2 as both supports are roaming. And just such a cheeky play. Copenhagen Wolves steal blue, and they should get out safely.
Nicely done, Ewax there. Had the damage to just deal with it and take it away from him. That may well force Millennium to try and make a play of their own and see whether Cotnex and Kerp try and steal the blue off the Copenhagen Wolves. Youngbuck in the top lane. He's giving Kevin all sorts of headaches right now. Bloodwell, of course, not available, so Youngbuck jumping on him every chance he gets.
Yeah, and I just want to go back to that dual lane point very quickly. Unlimited has a much stronger presence in that lane. He's landing more skill shots, and because of his aggressive play into Morgana, who isn't necessarily the greatest at playing aggressively, it's meaning that Millennium are falling behind. We did see a potential blue invade, and now Kerp has been collapsed on by Renekton. This is going to turn to a big fight.
Well, you were talking about the early aggression that Youngbuck could show, and he has gone straight in. Wild growth being used on him. Kautar to the back there, taken very low. Millennium trying to get towards him, but Youngbuck cleaves his way through there. A good glitter lance. Kevin finally gets this final swing here, but Millennium are all very low on health. That's a good barrel on towards Ewax. He's instead questioning his decision whether he should go in. Oh, will he pull the trigger? Yes, he will. He goes in. He gets the kill, but he'll go down in the protest, and he may well have cost Kautar his life. Oh, great glitter lance. Turns it back around. The Ignite will get Cotnex, and now Kevin, without the Bloodwell available, is very low, but there's no mana left on Kautar.
No mana for more spells. He does have red buff available. He needs to be careful not to get caught up.
Oh, teleport
Look
behind.
At the teleport from Youngbuck. Youngbuck wants Kevin's behind.
He's coming in towards him. Bloodwell just popped up. He's got double buff as well. And this is going to be tricky. Oh, that may well cost him. Is he going to teleport away? No. Oh, he backed. He didn't choose to back. Instead, he's going to choose to go for the kill. And he gets it! Kevin gets himself another kill. Can he get out of this one? I'm not sure. He will go down. That's his passive burnt out. He's got flash. No, he hasn't. He's not off cooldown. He's going to drop down. He's going to jump to the right, I think. Jump to the left. Yes, he will. Can he? Oh, he's got away.
Not yet. Airwax is now chasing him. We'll see if Kevin can keep this ringer.
Oh, he got caught with the Sonic Wave. Nicely done, Airwax. And finally he goes down. Jerry in the bottom lane. He gets dropped. Woolite now. Cotnex jumping on towards him, but he flashes away to safety. And now Unlimited actually putting some damage back on the jungler as the support. Cotnex has got to be careful. He's chasing in this one. He's got the support of Kraton coming in behind and coming down the river. You can see Kerp is making a move towards them. Copenhagen Wolves are in trouble here. They're taking over early fight. Cotnex taken so low. Woolite been picked off at the side there. Unlimited blasted away by Kerp. Cotnex is going to come around the side. It's Kraton that takes it. And well, 12 kills in the first 11 minutes. This game opened right up.
That is so important for Millennium. Now, after all of the action, it is just a matter of everyone committing to fights and basically biding their time. We've seen mistakes from both sides, but they come out relatively even. So this was the bottom lane fight that we did miss. I use the word fight very loosely. It is just a straight up dive, and unfortunately for Jerry, he misses yet another Dark Binding. So Woolite's able to chase him down. We did see the end of the fight, and I think what's very important to note is that Creatine is still 30 CS down, but he does have a kill and assist. And now Kevin, I think he should get away from this one. He's got the support of Cotnex.
Use the Dark Fight to get away. Youngbuck comes back in. Airwax, wow, he took a big chunk of damage there. Tries to get around. Safeguard not enough, and Cotnex cleans up the kill.
Wow, the combo of the burst damage from both Cotnex and Kevin just decimated Airwax's HP. If you look at his items, he's only got an Elder Lizard and Boots of Mobility, so there's no additional combat stats on his side of the map. But Millennium grabbed himself another kill. It lands in the hands of Cotnex. He's going to continue building towards a damage build Evelyn, and now they're going to catch Youngbuck up. The action's not over yet.
Well, he got drawn in to try and take down that pink ward. He's not going to be able to slice and dice. He flashes away. Can they dive in towards the tower, though? The minion wave needs to be cleared out, and Youngbuck's going to have to make tracks. This is at risk. Yeah, you got to back away further than that.
Yeah, not going to be worth it because of the fact that both flashes are available on the Millennium players. It may mean a lot of damage going onto the Copenhagen Wolves top outer turret. In the bottom lane, though, we do see Unlimited and Woolite. They continue to apply pressure, and they've got 60% of that turret HP down.
Youngbuck stuck around in that top lane. He had the support of Airwax, but at the moment he's just using his regen to try and keep himself there. Cotnex is there. Kevin could jump on him. Remember, there's no flash available on Youngbuck this time around, and that was just simply greedy to get the minions. He should have gone back.
Pure bravado. Youngbuck tried to get the slice and dice, and it was interrupted there by Kevin's knockup, and that really shouldn't have happened. He was low. There was always going to be the risk that Cotnex was sticking around. It's also going to result in this tower after a few turret hits get tanked up by Kevin. Not even, actually. They melted it. So the Wolves are going to open up with a Dragon. First of the game, if memory serves. And it's just back and forth. Both of these teams going toe-to-toe in multiple lanes. And we need to just keep an eye on who is winning where. Ooh, this is a teleport from Millennium. They're looking for a fight.
Yeah, it was a good trade for the Wolves, though. I mean, they knew that the jungler wasn't top, so they knew it was a safe Dragon to take. And it does work out. So a tower versus a Dragon versus a kill. At the moment, you can see the gold very close between them. Still 400, despite the fact there is now 14 kills on the board inside 14 minutes.
I actually think that is very important for the Wolves because not only did they get the Dragon in that scenario, but they also got Kevin's teleport. So they will have the timing on it. They'll be able to make an informed decision for how long their split pushing ability is, or how long they can leave Youngbuck pushing top lane. His teleport's almost available, so it should work in their favor if they can take advantage.
So let's start taking a look at this bottom lane, because this is not becoming a close fight. This is becoming a domination from the Copenhagen Wolves. We saw it against Genja and Edward yesterday. This partnership of Woolite and Unlimited is becoming very, very strong. 135 CS to 86. That's a massive golfing class right now.
Yeah, it really is, and it's been from the get-go. Woolite and Unlimited have completely dictated the pace.
And this is Kraton, remember. Kraton, who dominated yesterday against Alliance on Ezreal. He was so strong. But as of right now, Copenhagen Wolves really have stepped up. We talked about so many times. They pull out these AD carriers. Woolite, once again, doing a great job.
Yeah, and it is one of those scenarios where, due to the matchup, and all props to Unlimited as well, Woolite was afforded all of the time to CS and all of that freedom in lane because of how aggressive Unlimited was playing and how many skill shots he landed in the early game. That forced Creatine and Jerry onto the defensive, so they were never playing aggressive. If you look at the bigger picture in terms of the lane, 40 CS difference between 80 carries in favor of the Wolves. In the top lane, 22 CS rather, in favor of the Wolves. It's only the mid lane where Kerp is winning. When another 2v2 and Youngbuck's been jumped on.
Youngbuck Gen jumps on. This time he's got Dominus and he's got Airwax to help him out. Kevin taking low, but he's got Bloodwell available. They've got to get away from this one because Kevin's going to pop straight back up. Youngbuck goes down and so does Airwax. And just like that, as they've tried before, they can't beat this duo in the top lane, and this time they both paid the price for their lives.
No, they cannot, and Cottonex is making it clear. He's helping Kevin because he may be afraid to try and gank this bottom lane. Woolite completed his Trinity Force, and the Wolves have secured a tower of the game. Now, Kerp is landing on Countard. They're not thinking of diving yet, but they may want to.
Ultimate available. You can see Kerp's holding it back there. There we go. Bounces him back in just as Kerp comes in. Cottonex helps out, and it's another kill for Millennium. They're now 11-6 up in kills, and they are still even in gold.
Kerp with a very, very good play in that scenario. He actually kept Countard in the lane long enough to buy time for Cottonex to jump in there. Cottonex and Kerp did need to use both of their flashes, but it has allowed them to get a 5-kill lead and a lot of presence on the map. With the exception of the dual lane on the bottom, the middle and top lanes are going, I would say, in favor of Millennium. Despite the CS advantage, Kevin has got 4 kills and 4 assists, which actually puts him in the lead in gold. If you take a look at the gold difference between Youngbuck and Kevin, Youngbuck's sitting on 5,100 gold to 6,100 gold of Kevin. Those kills are working in his favor, and he's getting very key items. Blade of the Rune King completed, and a Chain Vest. He can start dueling and probably even winning against Youngbuck.
Yeah, 2 members, of course, in this game. Of our Twitter question of the day, we were talking to you guys about really players that have sneaking under the radar, unseen. Woolite and Cottonex both doing very well in this game. Cottonex 4-1-6 involved in over 90% of the kills so far for Millennium already from that jungle. Working wonders. So the Wolves, they have regrouped. They took that bottom tower. Let's see where they go from here, because Millennium are very good in this situation.
Oh, the bike hit!
Off, as I mentioned it, Woolite does get caught out. Explosive Cask only forces them backwards.
Yeah, the Unbreakable actually forced it to explode right in front of Unlimited's face. That allows them to get away cleanly. But, you know, Millennium have had some very good aggressive plays, and I think Cottonex has been the initiating factor for all of those, especially when you consider that top half of the map. It is his flanks that have started the fight with Youngbuck, and barring 1 or 2 in the early game, they've won most of them. But look at the positioning now. Copenhagen Wolves have split up. They've got Youngbuck top. They've left Woolite to go to the bottom lane, and Millennium have grouped up in the middle. Oh, Dark Binding's hits.
Catching on towards him, Wild Growth uses it enough to save him. The shields, the safeguard, everything coming through. J Ree's going to go down. Airwax will get himself the kill there. Countard paid the price. Grayton takes a couple of tower hits. Kerp so low, and Limited fancies it, and he may well get it. Oh, the Sonic Wave! Belly slammed away there. The ultimate comes out from Cottonex. He's going to take a lot of the kill in Airwax this time around. Kerp is running for his life, and he may well be able to get away. He goes back aggressive on towards Limited. Takes him down! Slams him! The Ignite is running! The Summoner Heal comes out, and Kerp gets away with it like a big fat lad.
Kerp is incredible at this game. He manages to tower dive, get away, survive the raids, dodge the skill shots, and still get the kill at the end of the day. Very, very well executed. Millennium communicating well and playing aggressively as a unit. Keep in mind, though, that they did lose an inner turret in the bottom lane. You can argue the value of those kills when you've lost map presence and objective control, but regardless, Millennium are the ones diving, and this is going to cause second guesses on the side of Copenhagen Wolves. I did not expect them to dive a Lulu when the turret was right there, when I felt they may have been focusing objective down. But Millennium do it, they get the kills, and they get away.
And this is the go button we talked about yesterday, of course. You know, once they catch. Yesterday, I think it was the Cocoons maybe catching on towards him. Today, Dark Binding, as soon as he gets on there, everybody piles straight in for Millennium. It's the traditional, and it's actually what we talked about back last summer.
Oh, there's going to be another fight.
They're in the death bush. Oh, this time around, can Kerp get away? He's going to get caught out. The stun will come through. Black Shield's not going to be enough to stop him this time as he gets picked down there, but he's still alive. He gets away, slams himself around, and now Millennium are coming back in numbers. They're trying to turn this one back around, and Copenhagen Wolves are forcing him away. A lot of damage, a lot of ultimates, both sides.
Teleports from both Youngbuck and Kevin to pull the support into the river. Remember, the dragon is available, so this is why the teams are fighting. Kerp held on to his explosive cask for a very long time and used it to knock Airwax away. Thanks to the fact that Copenhagen Wolves surprised Millennium, they should secure that dragon relatively safely. but Millennium are looking to contest. Let's keep an eye on the Dragon's HP.
They're moving in for it. You can see in the ID carry, it's just around the side. He's going to try and sneak in the back. Copenhagen Wolves going aggressive. Soul Shackle's going up, and that's going to proc on a number of people. Jerry does catch on towards him. They can see Cal Warlight comes back around the side, gets himself one, gets himself two, goes back onto Kevin. Bloodwell Ponce, he's got nowhere to go from this one. He's going to try and jump away. Is it enough? No, they're just going to follow on through, and it's another kill, and that is the ace for the Wolves and the Dragon.
After all of the praise that we were giving Millennium in their aggressive plays, they make a monumental error. They had no ultimates to work with. They committed to that fight knowing that they were low on HP, they didn't have the displacement from Gragas, and they just got obliterated. Even though Millennium are fairly tightly stacked, take a look at this. Woolite flanks from the backline, and Youngbuck hadn't even used his Dominus. So Youngbuck is just running amok in the middle of the lane while Woolite cleans up from behind. And truthfully, Millennium should have given the Dragon up. It was not worth the risk of that team fight, and they just get aced. Well played by Copenhagen Wolves. They regain control of the game.
The thing is, Millennium went in as a force, yet Kurt was like, I cannot get involved in this, and instantly got took out because he was stood on top of a ward. So effectively, once one of their carries are down, it's not really a fight you should be taking. Ironically, it's normally the Wolves that make those incorrect decisions. This time around, Millennium, their hand was forced.
Oh, they want to dive again, and there's no support for Curve. This may just be to secure the tower. You know what this reminds me of is yesterday's team fights, where Alliance were very reliant on the displacement of Gragas to help them survive team fights. But you've got Corki that can reposition, Braum can reposition, Lulu's got so much speed, and the same with Renekton and Lee Sin. So if Millennium don't have that displacement, they're going to get run around, and they're going to get controlled in team fights. So unfortunately, only a bit of more than they can chew. And if you just look at the item differences now between Woolite, who's 220 CS up, Infinity Edge and Trinity Force versus Creaton's Blade of the Ruined King and Double Doran's, there is simply no contest in who will win that contest.
Yeah, it's a gigantic difference between AD carries, and it may well be enough, just like yesterday against Gambit, to carry them through this game. Of course, they're going to push on through. You can see in the top lane, Kevin is up there, doesn't have teleport available, while the rest of the Wolves, they're pushing through the mid lane actually. Awax catches a Sonic Wave on Cotton X. He was just backing away in the jungle. That buys himself a little bit of time. Not really much coverage in this mid lane. Since Creaton gets there, we'll have culling available, so Copenhagen Wolves step away. They don't really have the vision to keep on pushing up the lanes just yet. No, they don't. They need to get more wards down deeper, and Millennium will be relying on Gragas and Lucian for their wave clear. They've actually got a lot of fairly safe CC. Gragas can throw the barrels out, and obviously the culling's on a fairly low cooldown. But the problem that the Copenhagen Wolves have is forcing those objective fights. They've got, you know, short-range champions in Lulu and Corki. So in order for them to safely commit to taking towers out, I feel like they either need to surprise Millennium or they need to have a numbers advantage. Because the risk of a Gragas barrel knocking someone closer to Millennium and knocking your teammates away is just too great at this stage of the game when you get those inner turrets. So as you mentioned, gigantic gulf between the AD carries and mid laners. Actually, it's fairly close, mid lane. It's a 30+ difference, but you can see Kautar just whips out that wave with his Glitter Lance, no problem there. But it is not. I mean, it's actually a 200 gold advantage to Kautar in that mid lane. The problem is that Kerp has been sitting on a large chunk of gold. He's been saving up for an hourglass, and for the last few minutes, Kautar has had that death cap completed and 339 ability power. Kerp has been only working with 189. He does have the money to finish off that hourglass, which we are expecting, but because Millennium are out of position, Copenhagen Wolves are just going to pick up an unchallenged tower, and Millennium need to respond a little quicker. So there we go. There's the hourglass we're talking about. Still behind in AP, Kerp 278 to Kautar's 342, and look at the split push. Kautar in the mid lane, the Wolves grouped up in the top lane. Cotnex wants to flank. This could go well if they can kill somebody before Lulu gets here. They're trying to go around there. Here comes Cotnex, lands the Agony's Embrace on all of them, and Woolite just gets massacred at the back there. Airwax now, he's going to be the focus. He gets away. He catches on towards Woolite. Kautar comes back in around the side. Oh, but the Dark Binding lands on him and eats a barrel. He's just going to get slammed out of this one. Millennium, oh, it's a great Glitter Lance from Kautar. That stops Millennium in their tracks, but it was a 2-for-1. But they still lost that tower. 2-for-1, and Copenhagen Wolves should not have left Kautar in the mid lane. They have a teleport top laner in Youngbuck, and the Lulu slow from Glitterlance and Wild Growth would have done so much to prevent and delay this engagement from happening. 5 versus 4, fairly clean initiation for Millennium.
very good focus damage onto Evelyn to, of course, block her out of the fight. But yeah, I think a misplay from Copenhagen Wolves. They should be relying on Renekton with the teleports to join in those fights, because one Glitzer Lance could have bought you the 2 or 3 seconds you need to get Youngbuck into engagement.
Yeah, Unlimited wasn't close enough to Woolite either. They weren't, for some reason, whether they just herp-a-derped and completely forgot that Cotnex could flank around the side and it's like, hey, let's just leave our AD carry completely exposed at the back. And you saw, of course, he's a 4-3-10 Evelyn. He's got a hell of a lot of damage and just blew him up there and then.
And that all starts with the vision. When you're playing against an Evelyn, or even when you're playing against like a Blitzcrank from yesterday, you need wards placed to your sides. If you're going to be pushing to an inner turret and you don't have clear vision of your opponent's jungle, you're always going to get flanked. And we've seen so many times how often Evelyns can get around the back. Airwax in particular, when he played Evelyn earlier this split, had some phenomenal 5-man engages from behind teams. I think it was Alliance actually that comes to mind. So it just misplay from Copenhagen Wolves. They need to make sure they have more wards. You can see pinks now in their inventory, so you can assume the next time they go for a tower, they will have the appropriate vision to make that play. We're being a little overly harsh because they still have a 5,000 gold lead, and they are definitely dictating the tempo of this game.
Yep, it's a big lead nonetheless. It's a high-scoring match, honestly. 29 kills so far in 26 minutes. Dragon up in 15 seconds. We're likely to see a couple more coming shortly. Both teleports available for the top laners, so they could get involved in this one. Plenty of wards are placed around for them to come down to. Creaton gets himself vision across the side. It's the Wolves that are in positional advantage, but look at the side. Cotnex once again looking to flank in. So
remember, even though the Wolves are, theoretically positioned well for Dragon, if they remain grouped up and get caught by Agony's Embrace, then the explosive cast, they could be in trouble. Let's see how the Millennium engage.
Cotnex comes around the side. It's Woolite they were focusing on. He's stuck deep in the back of the pit. Instead, he's had to Valkyrie away. And now Millennium move in force. Airwax taken low. He gets dropped down. Unlimited focus. Woolite gets dropped. Millennium turned his fight into their favor. And now Kautar's going to get chased down. I don't think he's going to escape this one. Darkbind is back up any second now. No, he didn't quite catch. Kautar just sidesteps it. They're going to go in and take the Dragon nonetheless. And that was a clean fight. 3-0 for Millennium.
Yeah, Millennium just
making 4, I think. Kautar having to use his wild growth to get out of that one. He does get away safe. Youngbuck, he's sticking around a long time, and he's putting a lot of damage on this mid-turret. He may even get it here. Millennium were way too slow to react to this one. An inner turret, despite all those losses, would be fantastic. And there's enough damage done there. It's just going to take a quick push. And Copenhagen Wolves, that was a good counter from Youngbuck.
Yeah, a breath of fresh air will take that tower down. And the Copenhagen Wolves, they just got split up. They made another mistake because Millennium engaged and they weren't on the same page. 2 members of the Wolves went north, 2 members of the Wolves went south. This is important to note. Look at the split. Kautar and Limited go up. Airwax and Woolite go into the pit and sideways. So Airwax is looking for the kill on Cotnex, which, I suppose maybe he could have pulled off, but it just simply wasn't enough. And J-Ree landing such a crucial Dark Binding that prevented Youngbuck getting involved. So by the time the, 3-second stun had worn off, root rather, the fight was over and Millennium could secure the objective. They closed the gold gap and they once again put on a hell of a show. 32 kills in 28 minutes. And it just looks like these teams are completely bloodthirsty.
Yeah, 32 kills and counting right now. So, 4-2 in turrets for the Wolves. They have the gold advantage, but only very little, just 1,000. Connex's flanks have been so far impeccable in these team fights as we've progressed into 5v5s. The Wolves, though, they know that mid turret is low and they're going to push the advantage.
So, keep in mind, for Millennium's team come to really work out, they're looking for Aatrox and Evelyn to come in from the side lanes. And if they can come in from the sides of a team fight and flank and, catch the Wolves by surprise, that's how they win their fights. You think of the top lane, you think of Dragon. The problem for Millennium is when they get surprised and they get jumped on very quickly. If they get caught out by an engage from Unlimited or even Airwax catching them out, they run the risk of just getting burst down. Unlimited, Kautar rather's got his death cap, he's got the makings of a Void Staff. He's starting to hit that point where he's got some good burst on the Lulu. But look at this, from the side, Cotnex, he's gonna get Agony's Embrace down.
Straight onto Woolite once again. This time Cotnex will get knocked away. The kick from Airwax, they're gonna turn it back around. Youngbuck in amongst the whole team. Wild Growth, Dominus, everything. It's a gigantic crocodile, but is it enough? Curb, Sonya's Hourglass, last split second. Dragon. Everybody getting low. Millennium getting low. Bloodwell popped by Kevin. Gragas going down as well. Cortex is going to die to the Ignite. Kevin gets dropped as well. It's a double for Countdown. They're chasing on this one. Triple kill for Countdown in the end. That's going to be the tower. It could even be an inhibitor.
It should. Well, it depends on Copenhagen Wolves. Baron is an objective. On 1 for 3. The fight ends up going in favor of the Wolves because Youngbuck teleports in behind them. Millennium just got... they tried to initiate and they got split up. As they were focusing Youngbuck down, it allowed the Wolves to regroup and get the damage onto the right people. They bursted Kerb out very quickly. Creighton's going to look for a steal, but I don't think this is going to happen. Aaron's going low, and he's actually positioning quite scarily. He may be looking for kills as well.
One shot and a dream, and it's not enough for Creighton, not being able to take that one down. So the Wolves get themselves the first Baron of the game as we continue this crazy aggressive game. 36 kills in 30 minutes and counting, and I don't think that's going to be the end of it for sure. Plenty of towers to fall, to fight over, and the Wolves, with all the gold now gained, are going to back off and stack themselves a few more items.
You're seeing the strengths and the weaknesses of both team compositions. The moment Copenhagen Wolves get a Youngbuck or an Airwax into the middle of Millennium, then the wild growth and its slow is enough to hold them in place, and that buys time for the rest of the Copenhagen Wolves to deal damage. Millennium, on the other hand, when they get a good flank and they're not surprised and caught in the middle, they're able to win team fights. So it's very crucial to keep an eye on how Millennium handles Youngbuck going forward. If J-Ree can continue to get strong dark bindings, or he can get knocked away by an explosive cask, then Millennium can win those fights. But every single time Millennium pull ahead or close the gap, Copenhagen Wolves find a way to punish them and regain control of the game. Another 5,000 gold lead in 30 minutes.
So, great start for both teams, honestly. And a great game so far. Copenhagen Wolves, they have the advantage, they have the Baron, and they're making their move. You can see the waves being pushed up the top lane by Youngbuck. Mid lane wave going to be crashing onto the tower shortly. Bottom lane actually has dealt with itself, and like you say, look at that vision, look at that jungle area. Cottonex cannot flank around this time. There's too many pink wards for him to get around the backside, and he's also got coverage. You can see Woolite purposely staying right at the top of the map. No way you can flank around there. You can't go off the map, that's for sure. They're going to move in towards them. The kick comes out from Airwax, not landing, trying to single someone out. Instead, they'll take themselves a turret, and now the siege will begin.
Yeah, Millennium don't really want the team fight because of the Baron buff on the Copenhagen Wolves, and they are so reliant on getting Aatrox or Evelyn to come in from the side lanes. Now, Aatrox is sitting at the tower. We can see Cottonex has snuck himself around, but I don't know if he's going to walk over a pink wall. That is very important to see. There's no pinks on the route up to that top lane. So if Copenhagen will commit to the tower, I think that's going to be the go signal for Cottonex. If he can come in from behind 5 of them, like now, this may be the time. A flash, oh, there's no flash for J-Ree. Soul Shackles, let's see if he uses it aggressively.
There's the call-in, not going to go in this time. Backs away, J-Ree taking too much punishment. The call-in used and basically being blocked out by Unlimited's Unbreakable. Took a bit of damage, that will regenerate. They're going to get themselves another couple more shots. Still once again, Agony's Embrace, remember, is the key go factor for Cottonex.
Look at his positioning. He's going to come in now. They do have the heal from Mikhail's Crucible on J-Ree, and a lot of other ultimates are available. Here come Millennium.
He's going in for it. It's Woolite's the focus this time around. He gets in towards him, but the rest of the team again cannot support him, and he just gets taken down. The Wolves were completely ready and waiting for that one, and they just blew him up the moment he came in.
It's so difficult to engage through a Glacial Fissure and the Glitterlance.
Whoa!
Copenhagen Wolves put the slowdown, and Millennium on the retreat.
Airwax goes in. Soul Shackles just ran out of. There goes the tower. The inhibitor's going to fall. They're pushing through on this one, and Millennium are retreating back to the fountain. They will take themselves the tower and the inhib, and they're going to back away.
Very, very strong play from the Copenhagen Wolves. They commit to their team fight, and when Cottonex engages, they focus him so incredibly quickly. It's not over yet, as it looks like J-Ree and Kerp were trying to get something. A good Glitterlance
frustration barrel at the end there.
You have to give a lot of credit to Copenhagen Wolves calling, because the moment Cottonex shows up with that Agony's Embrace, the whole team just turns and melts him so quickly, even through all of his tanky stats and that Agony's Embrace.
We're not done yet. We're not done yet. Millennium, they want to fight for the dragon here. Copenhagen Wolves still with the Baron on, remember. Hasn't got too long left in it, just wore off. Just went down. Agony's Embrace not available, nor is Soul Shackles, of course, for J-Ree. But then Barrels, they're going to keep doing the damage. Not as much as it used to be, but it will be enough. Now, Dragon being started off. Copenhagen Wolves in there, shreds it down, no problem there. They have to secure themselves the blue buff. and get the hell out of dodge.
I think that's a smart play from Millennium. They already lost a very bad Dragon fight by engaging when they were either low on HP or didn't have their full complement of abilities, and I believe the same thing would have happened if they had committed to that fight. So they give the Dragon up, Copenhagen Wolves extend their gold lead, and because they've got super minions in the top lane, the Wolves should be looking to play the map now. Play middle, play bottom lane, get control with a good wave clear that Countdown's got. He should finish off his Lich Bane in the not too distant future. And that's going to give the Wolves all of the time in the world to just push these towers down, get 1 or 2 hits with Woolite or with Countard, and that will give you even further map control.
So, Copenhagen Wolves in the advantage. Baron buff now off though, it's going to be back up in 2 minutes time. And the super minions, of course, being dealt with. Kevin shouldn't have too many issues up there now. He's got this help with Creaton. They'll take them down quickly. But we see Guardian Angel now completed by Kevin. That's going to give him 2 lives because, of course, he's got that Bloodwell passive as well. I'm pretty sure that's going to be a Guardian Angel on Cotnex as well being built up now. Still yet to see one on the Wolves, although it looks like Youngbook is heading that way. Bottom wave seems to be the next focus target for the Wolves. That wave will be picked up and pushed in towards this lower inhib, while of course they split deal with those super minions in the top.
It's so difficult to see how Millennium can pull themselves back because Cotnex has actually had pretty good flanks on the previous engages, but because the rest of Millennium just can't get through Unlimited's abilities, that's really what's making their lives difficult. So what that means for Millennium to win a fight here, if Cotnex comes in from behind, Kevin and Kerp need to work together to get the targets down, either through the explosive cask or through Kevin jumping over or around Unlimited's ultimate. Because that's been such a big disruption. The knock-up and the slow is very, very difficult to deal with.
While there's super minions in that top wave, the middle wave will not need dealing with. That's going to deal with itself for Millennium. So if the Wolves are going to make this, they're going to have to just simply push in. Now you can see top wave, super minions moving in onto the Nexus turret, and there Wax immediately tries to take advantage, tries to get himself a position to kick somebody out. Kurt was the man that was caught. That Nexus turret taking half its hit points already as the Wolves rotate around. Baron is up in 20 seconds, and they want to use those super minions as an advantage. That Nexus turret is very low going down there. They're going to clear out the super minions, but that may well buy themselves enough time for the Wolves to move in and get Baron.
Copenhagen Wolves destroyed the Dragon a few moments ago very, very quickly. A tad early on the Baron spawn, but Millennium are close enough to engage. So for Copenhagen Wolves, they need to be very clear. They either Baron and peel for the fight, or in this case, they just catch Millennium out of position.
Look how confident Woolite
not there. Millennium are in trouble.
Woolite going in towards this one, pops on towards Jerry. Cotnex locks on towards him, but he's just got so much damage and lifesteal and sustain. He just keeps on fighting through it. Taking 1 down, taking 2 down. Kevin's going to get popped down. That's another drop. This is the Copenhagen Wolves surely taking victory.
Yeah, there's super minions on the Nexus turrets, and that's going to be an ace for 1. Maybe 2 if Kevin can get the last hit. Doesn't look like it. Millennium just get melted in the mid lane.
Fantastic match between these two teams. 22 kills for the Wolves, 21 kills for Millennium, and it's the Copenhagen Wolves that will be coming out on top. They've got to take the inhib down first, but they have enough time. 20-second death timers, that should be more than enough time to take down. That's going to just a quick breathe, a breath of fresh air on it. That's going to be the final Nexus turret going down. It's the Copenhagen Wolves that take down Millennium. It's a 2-0 week for the Wolves, ladies and gentlemen. They are on the comeback trail.
Very, very strong showing against Millennium. Their team fights were good. Even the times they got flanked, it was mistakes leading up to the fights that cost them. If they'd had better vision, you could theorize that they would not have lost those team fights at the Dragon Pit or in that top lane. Stern faces there from Kerp and from Creaton. The Howl is back, ladies and gentlemen. The Howl is back indeed.
Yeah, and it is doing very well. So, unfortunately for you Gambit fans out there, this puts them in a real bind. They are now rooted at the bottom of the table, as the only team around them has just picked up 2 victories, one of them being against Gambit, of course, who themselves are now 0-2 this week. As it stands, though, we do see Millennium. They're now 10-10, tied with Roccat,
yes,
I believe, as well. So it's a good performance for them. Roccat creeping their way back up the table, and for Millennium, as you mentioned, a couple of worried faces, and rightfully so, because they've gone from one of the top teams to slowly but surely slipping back into the playoffs.
Yeah, and you see the composition that Millennium put together. It's sort of a pick comp. You can't consider Gragas an assassin anymore or a burst mage anymore. His damage has been reduced significantly. But the way that Millennium were playing that, they were looking for the binding, they were looking to separate the target and focus them down. And every time Millennium tried to do that, after 25 minutes or so, you've just seen Unlimited throwing out that Glacial Fissure on Brahma and just preventing everyone getting in. The Wild Growth saved them. The Glitter Lancers kept them alive. Millennium didn't have the tools to get through all of those things multiple times.
Yeah, fantastic performance overall. I mean, a real bloodthirsty game, that's for sure. And there was a lot of high kill count back and forth. And we want to talk to one of the main men that was involved in a lot of those kills. He was targeted and he turned it back around. It's Woolite alongside with Shox.
Thank you very much, D-Man. And yeah, Woolite, as they said, what a bloodthirsty game, full-on aggression from both teams. Tell us what it was that made you guys play so aggressive from the bat.
Well, I feel really comfortable on Corki, so I just wanted to get as much lead in the laning phase as we can, so I can contribute more to the team in the Dragon fights. Like I was 40 CS ahead in the laning phase, so yeah, I think I was so much more useful than enemy Lucian.
You were doing very well. Tell me then how you played that late game. You say you're very comfortable on Corki. Still, it's very tricky to play against a late game comp like that. What were the central elements in winning those late game team fights?
They tried to flank us with the Evelynn, which is really dangerous because they can combat with the Aatrox. But Corki has a really good escape with the W, so we just have to disengage, and we have the Lulu for the defensive ultimate, so we have to kite them back.
It's all very easy as you make it sound. We're very confident. And you are 2-0 this week. Tell us about the steps that you're going to take to get in that playoff race for real and maybe grab one of those spots.
We already got an analyst settled up in our house, so it's definitely helping us out a lot. And yeah, we're just preparing for next opponents right now. It's first time we went to 0, I think, so yeah, we're really happy.
Yeah, good thing. Congratulations. Thank you very much, Woolite.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we got to take a short break, but when we come back, SK Gaming takes on Fnatic in our last LCS game of the day, so stay put.
He's got Blood well available. They've got to get away from this one because Kevin's going to pop straight back up. Youngman goes down, and so does Airwax. Cooked so low, and Limited fancies it, and he may well get it. Oh, the Sonic Wave! Belly slammed away there. The ultimate comes out from Connex. He's going to take a lot of the Colin Airwax this time around. Curve is running for his life, and he may well be able to get away. He goes back aggressive onto Unlimited, takes him down.
Millennium are in trouble.
Woolite going in towards this one, pops on towards Jerry. Connex locks on towards him, but he's just got so much damage and lifesteal and sustain. He just keeps on fighting through it, taking 1 down, taking 2 down. Kevin's gonna get popped down.